This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
So stop apologizing and start evangelizing and infiltrating, influencing pop culture.
A creative political ad has caught the attention of Sarah Palin. Today, we're joined by the man the ad supports. He's running for the State House in Alabama. Mr. Darius Foster is here. A happy Independence Day from Governor Palin. We strap in with the Colonel once again. Rob Maness joins us from Louisiana. A brand new Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimpson is coming up. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, we head to the great state of Alabama and welcome in Darius Foster, who's running for state representative in Bama. Mr. Foster, welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thanks so much for being here. And, you know, this campaign ad that you released recently, it's really captured the imagination of so many. Governor Palin, of course, tweeting it out there, putting it on Facebook. And she's not the only one who's noticed it. People who haven't seen it yet, and we will have it available on our Facebook page and also have the link on our Twitter feed. But people who haven't seen it, basically, it's Mr. Foster's voice through a bunch of people who are lip-syncing his words and getting to know him and getting to know some very important things and where he stands on things, and then just some things where things that he likes in sports and entertainment and whatnot. First, let me ask you, the ad itself, were you shocked at the response it got, and how did you find out that Governor Palin liked it so much?
Of course we were shocked. We did not expect it to blow up the way it did. I was actually going through my Twitter feed, and Governor Palin retweeted it, and my wife screamed, and it was it was just pandemonium from there.
That's tremendous. Now, this ad, how did y'all come up with the idea, and what is the message here, showing all different types of people talking about Darius Foster?
Well, my wife and I sat down a few weeks before we actually recorded it. The main thing was to let people know that, I wasn't one thing, not to put me in a box. I grew up in the inner city. I've been able to get an education, and now I guess you can say I'm middle class. I've had a lot of experiences, so it was just to have something creative, something new, fun, but to kind of give the wide range of experiences I've had.
Yeah, and I think it really resonates because, you come across as a regular person, not unlike Governor Palin. And I think that, people really enjoy that because you want someone that is talking to you, not speaking at you or reading a script or a teleprompter, and someone you can really learn from and say, hey, okay, whether I trust this person or not, that's the opinion people can make at the ballot box, but at least you're getting a fair shake. Now, tell me this, the office you're running for, what prompted you to go ahead and throw yourself into the political ring?
It's the perfect time. First of all, being transparent. I wanted to make sure that my marriage is in a good place. It is. My wife and I are doing great. That's the first thing. I can't be credible outside my home, and the inside is tore up. So that's the first thing. We're doing fine. Second thing is the district lines are redrawn. So it's a much more diverse district. We have rich, poor, black, white, young, old. And once again, kind of going back to my campaign video, that's kind of how the district looks today. So, and jobs is a big thing. Jobs and being able to communicate to, lower class, those who are hurting, young families, retirees. I just believe that I'm the person that can cover the spectrum and create policy for a district that, does not hurt the other demographics.
We talk so much and hear so much about the problems in Washington, and people hear about that from a national level, but here you are mentioning jobs now just on a state-by-state level. And Governor Palin has said it so many times, yeah, it's great to have the president that you want in the White House and the people in Washington that you want, but it's also important to get local officials elected, whether they be town mayors or from the dog catcher on down, whoever you want to talk about, and certainly in state houses and state senates. So a race that you're running here, it's important really to tackle these issues state by state, one at a time. And I think that that's another thing that you have going for you, Darius, is that you can really speak to that because you're someone, you're a young man with a family, you're married, and you care about these issues because they affect you personally.
Absolutely. Here, most people don't know how cities and schools are actually funded. That, in Alabama is through property taxes and ad valorem taxes, business taxes and those things. And if you're unemployed, you don't really contribute to the way the city is funded, and how you can drive more funding by creating more jobs or expanding existing industry without having to raise taxes. So I'm really educating part of my district on the fly, to give them some hope and understanding on, hey, this is how we move forward. I need to get you employed or better employed, so people are listening to that. They are loving it, understanding it, and so far it's working.
Now, besides jobs and taxes, anything else that people who could be your constituents down the road here, if elected, are talking to you about when you're on the campaign trail? Anything else that stands out to you that seems to be a recurring theme?
Schools, but like I said before, jobs would drive the school improvement. If parents are working, parents are contributing more, the school gets more resources. It'll fix itself. Also, prison sentencing reform. Alabama is now, I guess, number one in overcrowded population of prisons. We have a very difficult task ahead of us with that. First-time nonviolent offenders, somebody making a mistake that wasn't valid and their life not being completely over. I do believe we can be smart on crime and still be tough on crime.
So you really have that domino theory there too, right? Though if the jobs are there, a lot of these other things will fall into place.
Right, absolutely.
All right, now back to your ad. I loved it. We got to talk about Lil Wayne and Sinatra here. For a moment. A lot of people laughed. I got to tell you, I completely understand. I am eclectic as can be when it comes to music, too. We talked about this the other night. I was talking to a friend at work. We were talking about Billy Joel, and then we got into this thing, and I said, let me give you an idea about my music. I've seen Amy Grant and Iron Maiden in concert. So, I mean,
wow.
It just depends, on, to me, I'm a lyrics guy, whatever. But, you have your own taste. So, Sinatra and Lil Wayne. So if the chairman of the board was still around, is there a Sinatra song that you think Lil Wayne would be able to do, or vice versa, that you'd like to see?
My favorite Sinatra song is probably Under My Skin. And Lil Wayne is actually entertaining. I don't take his lyrics to heart. It's just a good beat and it's fun. But, my iPhone, I would say, if you picked up my phone and didn't know who it belonged to in my iTunes, you probably wouldn't know what race I was. It's really that broad. Rock, country. I do it all.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I completely understand. Now, we had a lot of fun with this ad, and we'll talk about it a little more in a moment. But you know what I really liked on your website, and I wanted you to mention here to the listeners, is you talk about your grandmother, and you tell a very important story on your website. Anybody could click on it. I believe is the tab. Is it About Me? Is that the tab?
I think it's What I Believe.
What I Believe, that's right. So if you click on the tab What I Believe on Darius Foster's website, you'll get this great story, but I'd like you to tell it now if you could briefly. What did your grandma, what would she have offered to her, and what did she turn down?
Well, some time ago, actually about 10, 12 years ago, we hit a rough patch, and she was working 2 jobs, and it still wasn't closing the gap between, bills and having enough, to buy food. And she went down to apply for social services, and she got approved, but the amount was like maybe $400 or $500 a month. And she said, well, just keep that. I can get one more job or work some extra hours, and that really impacted me because we needed that money. But she just, worked 4 or 5 more hours a week, which is already, crazy hours. And and we made it. We actually made it. And she actually went back to school and got an associate's degree. That was just what I saw. That's what I know. She didn't, not saying that we wouldn't have been wrong for taking it, or not saying that other people aren't wrong for taking it. Just for me, that kind of resilience, from my grandmother, was being, in the inner city, it made all the world of an impression on me.
That's amazing, and I think the biggest point is the fact that you're even saying, hey, you know what, you could have very well used it, and she still didn't, where you have people who maybe don't need it, the effort isn't there, and are taking it. So it really shows that contrast here of how things can be done, and that's something you can't, it's not tangible, but that's that work ethic that's in you from how you're raised.
Absolutely. Most people think that the reason I'm a Republican comes from, me going to college and studying in history. No, it's my grandmother and my pastor. The reason I'm pro-traditional marriage and the reason I'm pro-life is my grandmother and my pastor and what I've learned. The reason why I don't like taxes, believe it or not, is my grandmother. She started to make a little more money, and here in Alabama, it's difficult because we have very low property taxes, so we have a high sales tax and tax some other things, and I guess as she got older, she started to experience the pain with those taxes. So it's just a lot of the principles of being a Republican I didn't get from the encyclopedia. I learned them and I read that, this is what the Republican Party means, stands for. So it's just people, just really surprised that, my grandmother, who was, I guess you would say, is a Democrat by name, but she's really conservative and a Republican by principle.
We also learned from your great ad that, like most Black American men in this country, Dirk Nowitzki is your favorite NBA player.
People were really surprised. Yes, Dirk. I love Dirk. It's the best jump shooter over 6'10" ever played the game.
And you say about putting people in a box, you'll probably agree with me on this because, I cover sports, and you ever notice anytime a white player comes out of college or a black player, they're always compared to a fellow white player or black player. And it's completely done by every announcer, every analyst, and you sit there and you go, wait a minute. You may see, like, for instance, when I'm a Bulls fan, when they drafted McDermott the other night, and then I'm looking at Carmelo Anthony right now, I see a lot of similarities in those two, but people just can't get by. Like you said, you're talking about it politically, but even in sports, painting people into that box of like, well, how could he be that? He's not that color. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. But, hopefully that ad was a small step in the right direction of just dealing with all the the deeper issues of just I won't say sin, but just our habits, things we were taught. They really haven't been proven. We just learned them over time. And
you got to be happy with Nowitzki, the 3-year deal, right?
I'm sure these are the last 3 years, but hopefully we can pull it out. Just past our playoffs, we had San Antonio beat. We gave 2 games away. But, hey, it is what it is.
That's right. I was going to say that to you. The world champs took them to 7 games in that first round, and Vince Carter there giving old guys a good name with that one shot. But, hey, listen, Darius, we appreciate you being here. The ad is great. We're going to post it everywhere. People who haven't seen it yet, you can certainly see it right on our site and our Facebook page and our Twitter feed. But also, we want you to go to Darius Foster's website and learn not only about the ad, but about his great campaign that he's running in Alabama. So if you could, Darius, tell everybody about your website.
Yes, it is DariusFoster.com, DariusFoster.com. And I was lucky enough to get all my social media names at Darius Foster. So it's Facebook.com/Darius Foster, Twitter.com/Darius Foster.
Tremendous. Thank you, sir. God bless you, and good luck. We'll be talking to you again, I hope, after you're elected.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
For more on Darius Foster, visit DariusFoster.com.